Batman is missing? Well, of course. I will become Batman. Oh, you were just wondering if I saw him? No. No, I didn't. But if you need anybody to... Hello? Hello? Hello friends, welcome back to the show. So glad to see you once again. And if you're new here, thanks for stopping by. This is the show that I think you've been looking for. If you're like me and grew up on cartoons from the 80s and 90s and love watching them and talking about them now, then plop yourself down right here. Hop below, hit the subscribe button, click the like button while you're at it, because I think you're going to enjoy what you're going to see. And today we have a really fun episode, Nighttime, which originally aired on October 10th, 1998.
What do you mean, Batman missing?
So another episode that I knew existed, but I had never actually sat down and watched the whole thing. I think I've ran into a couple of clips of it, and all I really knew was that Superman was in Gotham impersonating Batman, but I didn't know why, and I didn't know how, and I didn't know what was going on. But this is a really fun episode, and is a great way of doing a crossover episode. Yeah, but we'll talk all about that right after our 60-second Brainiac rundown of the episode. Here we go. Superman chases down Roxy Rock and he captures her and he goes, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "Well, I'm in Metropolis because Batman's gone and everybody's gone crazy in Gotham." He goes, "Batman's gone? That's weird." So he goes to Gotham and we see Robin taking down a few crooks and Superman shows up and goes, "Where's Batman?" He goes, "I don't know. He just left and didn't really tell me his stuff." And then the bat symbol shows and he goes, "Well, he's not gone yet." And then Superman dresses up like Batman, goes to talk to Commissioner Gordon and goes, "Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry I was gone for a little bit." And he shows a photo. Robin helps out. Goes, "Oh, that's Bane." And he goes, "Oh, what's going on?" And so they leave and maintain this ruse, and they go and they look at the message that Bruce sent to Lucius that he was going to be away on vacation. And they go, "I don't think that's true." He traces it to New Zealand. That's not accurate. And Superman's looking at these papers and sees these little nanobites in there. He goes, "Oh, okay. Now we're getting somewhere. I think he's under some sort of mind control." And they go to the Iceberg Lounge. They talk to Penguin. Goes, "Where's Mad Hatter?" Mad Hatter's working with Riddler and Bane to form this co-op to take over the city. Then the bomb explodes. I mean, you got Batman, Superman. So they go there and Superman as Batman is fighting them and they go, "Oh, now we got him. There's crush him." And they're not able to because he's Superman and really fast, and really strong. And so they capture him. They start interrogating Mad Hatter and they go, "So what's the deal?" And he goes, "Oh, these aren't my tech, but they might be alien." And so they do a little more research and then they're watching the tape back and they hear a rocket in the background. They go, "Oh, Wayne Aerospace." So they go there. Didn't even know that existed. They show up there and then they see that a mind-controlled Bruce Wayne is working with Brainiac. And so they go in there and they take him down using superpowers and using smarts, and they get him freed. And then Superman has some nice things to say about Robin, and roll credits. I don't know what to say. I'm talking as fast as I can. I put this parameter on myself.
That's it? That's all I get?
I love these episodes, and this is one of those that I think could have been a two-parter, and I'm almost glad that they didn't, because they have so much crammed into this one episode, and there isn't a dull moment. It is just a lot of fun, and I always feel kind of funny that I enjoy the episodes, the Superman episodes that include Batman or elements like Batman. But what are you going to do? That's just my preference. But this is another one of those where it was like, let's do another crossover, which those are always fun and those are neat to do. But they found a story that made sense to do a crossover. It wasn't just, "Hey, the Riddler's in Metropolis. I need Batman's help." It was a really kind of interesting story, and they even got to it in an interesting way by having Roxy Rocket in Metropolis, right? So that was kind of random, but that was really just the stepping stone, the fuel, the rocket fuel, if you will, to get to the rest of the episode to make Superman go, "Where's Batman?" That's interesting. This has been a story that's done in the comics quite a bit. Maybe not quite a bit, but it's been done before, where Batman's missing. And this mystery of where's Batman, what's going on, is fun. And I think it doesn't immediately send up a red flag because we do have Dick Grayson and Tim Drake and Barbara Gordon all still in town to try to fill in the gap. But there's this crime spree. All the criminals know Batman's gone, and so they're doing their best to take over, which provides a great opportunity to introduce and bring in multiple villains, which is also another fun element in these episodes. And I think, too, this could have been an opportunity, and it probably wouldn't have worked in the storyline, but another element that comes up in comic books every once in a while is as Dick Grayson got older, there was a few different times where he played Batman, where he became Batman, or filled in for Batman while Batman was gone. Like, that didn't make any sense. Filled in for Batman while Bruce was gone or incapable of performing his duties, such as in Nightfall, when Bruce Wayne had his back broken. That was the first phase, was Dick Grayson became Batman and struggled with how to be able to do that and maintain this ruse that Batman's still okay. And so I thought there was kind of a neat moment where they could have played around with that. But of course, if that was happening, there wouldn't have been an opportunity for Superman to get involved. So maybe that wouldn't have been a great choice, but it would have been kind of fun to see Dick Grayson as Batman. And I do have to say, I was really impressed that Tim Daly does a spot-on Kevin Conroy impersonation.
Good evening, Commissioner. Sorry I'm late.
All right, I know that was actually Kevin Conroy. But I do have to say, compliments to Kevin Conroy, because he does, it's still his voice, it's still Batman, obviously, but he changes his inflection on certain parts just a little bit, just enough that it feels like somebody is doing a Batman impersonation, which I thought was pretty cool on Kevin Conroy's part, or the director, whoever's idea that was, that it wasn't like overtly Kevin Conroy trying to do a bad Batman impersonation, if that makes any sense. But it was just like, it was a good Batman, but just certain words or certain phrases that he had just kind of a different inflection on. At least I thought. You can tell that they really had some fun with this first scene with Superman as Batman meeting up with Commissioner Gordon, Tim Drake Robin there to kind of try to help him and guide him in portraying Batman the correct way. And even just that joke at the end where he's trying to go fly away with the Batarang. And
The sooner we find your boss, the better.
Right side.
I have to point this out, is that even in Superman, Penguin is thrown into this episode, which again, I like that there's a lot of villains in this, a lot of characters in the episode, which is a lot of fun. But it's like he has now just been reduced to an informant. There's been a couple of Batman episodes where it was like this, where they go to the Iceberg Lounge or they go to question Penguin to find some information out and then go about their business. He's not really a threat. He's a legitimate businessman at this point. It's just kind of funny that carried over into Superman, that like, oh, we need some information. Let's go ask Penguin. We can get some information out of him. Also included in this episode, obviously, we have the Riddler, we have Mad Hatter, we have Bane. I know people brought this up when I mentioned the Judgment Day for Batman. If you haven't seen that, that's up here. That's the last speaking appearance of Riddler in Batman. And a lot of people reference that he was going to be in this episode. And as happy as I am that he's in this episode, and again, it is John Glover doing the voice, and that's all fun and it's good, and I'm excited to see that. He doesn't really do much, and there's really not a lot in this episode. Again, I'm just using this opportunity to voice that I wish they would have done more with the Riddler. And it's interesting to me too, because when Batman the Animated Series first came out, 92, they pulled from the Batman Returns with the Penguin in there, and then the design of Penguin was very similar to that in the movie, and there was some great tie-ins, and I think they were trying to utilize Penguin where they could in the early episodes for that reason. But it's interesting to me because the movie Batman Forever, say what you will about that movie, it was out in 95, so maybe it just fell just at the right spot in the gap between the original series and the New Adventures. But I would think that there was some popularity around that movie, the first one. Now, I know Batman and Robin kind of got really off the rails, but Batman Forever, if I'm remembering correctly, was popular. But I would think that there would have been a little bit more hype. We had Jim Carrey at the height of his career, playing the Riddler, and a lot of merchandising, a lot of things like that I feel like coming into the new Batman adventures that they would have utilized the Riddler more, and Two-Face too. I mean, Tommy Lee Jones is the Two-Face from forever. And they didn't. It was just, he just kind of ignored. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's part of the reason that they kind of separating themselves from the movies. I don't know.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
On kind of a sad note, we do have Mad Hatter in this episode, and obviously voiced by the incomparable Roddy McDowall. But as I was looking this up, I was sad to learn that Roddy McDowall died on October 3rd, 1998, just 1 week before this episode aired. Kind of sad that he passed away so close and didn't get to see his final appearance. And who knows, maybe it wasn't going to be his final appearance in the series. But what an amazing performer, what an amazing talent, great casting. I mean, I talk about it in the original episode for Mad Hatter, perfectly cast to play the role of the Mad Hatter. Pretty cool that he can be immortalized and still remembered and still talked about even today in a cartoon about Superman.
If it's all the same, I'll play your game.
You know, this episode also gives a pretty neat opportunity to show that Superman, Clark Kent, is a pretty decent detective in his own right. I mean, we talk a lot about Batman being the master detective and the world's greatest detective and things like that. And we don't get to see it as much in the show. But you got to remember, Clark Kent is an investigative journalist. And I think that there's any number of jobs that he could have done. And I want to believe that he got this job and is one of the star reporters for the Daily Planet based on his skill. I mean, there is no version of his superpower other than maybe super hearing or X-ray vision, or actually there's a few of his powers he could use. But I think you still need a smart brain to be able to do the investigative side of journalism. And we don't get to see that as much in the animated series, where he just kind of hears something going on and flies off and takes care of it. But here we get to see him really using his detective skills and really kind of investigating and working with Robin. Maybe Robin kind of brings that out in him a little bit. But that was kind of a neat element of this episode, to see him getting his hands dirty, if you will, as a detective. I do have to say that I thought it was a neat element that was kind of accidental, I think, in this, that when Superman as Batman was going up against some of these villains, certainly like Bane and Mad Hatter and those kind of things, I feel like Superman helped Batman's myth, legend, fear factor in the sense that kind of heightened the story of them dropping all this stuff on Batman and seeing him get up and taking them down. Is going, wait a minute, is he invincible? I thought he was just human. Or that he was so fast when he was coming around the corners to Mad Hatter. And to them, they just think that's Batman. And stories are going to spread in the Gotham underground. Like I said, I don't know if it was deliberate or not, but it was kind of neat to think about that element of Superman helping Batman's cause to go, oh, I heard he's invincible. I heard he's, and that's a big element of what makes Batman Batman, is people don't know what he can and can't do. And he shows up and he's there and he's in the darkness. And so that's kind of fun. I also think it's kind of fun that, to me, I think Superman must really like the Batman suit, because when they finally figure all this out and they're going to go into the lab and get Bruce Wayne back from the aerospace, or, these nanobites are controlling him in that, Superman still shows up in the Batman suit. Like, at that point, it wasn't really necessary he could have just as easily shown up as Superman to do this. Then he got shot, blasted, and the suit melted off, and his Superman suit, which is, I guess, impenetrable to fire and explosions and that, still lasted. And then now he's Superman saving the day. And it's his show after all. It shouldn't have been him as Batman saving the day. It should have been him as Superman saving the day. So that made a lot of sense. It worked. I guess he can have this one. And I feel like we talk about this anytime that Batman and Superman are together in a crossover episode, that when they share the screen or have dialogue together, we get to see more so the differences between the two characters. And in this one, in this closing scene, we get to see that we've talked about it several times that Batman, Bruce Wayne, really doesn't show the respect to Robin that Robin deserves, whether it's Tim Drake or who's the other one? Dick Grayson or Damian or any of the Robins. He really doesn't show them a lot of respect. But Superman does. And even they mentioned it earlier in the episode that what's weird about Bruce Wayne in these kind of videos of being mind controlled is he's smiling. And Robin even kind of gets on Superman a couple of times of like, you got to be more serious, got to be more gruff if you're going to play Batman. So yes, so we get to see Superman sees the opportunity and who's just the all American typical nice guy that he does in fact compliment Robin, even though Batman won't.
I have to say, for a guy who's supposed to be such a loner, you sure know how to pick a partner.
So when it comes time to rank this episode, it's really fun. I think you can see my excitement about this episode, and not just because Batman's in it. Yes, that helps a lot, but it's just a really kind of neat story, and I love those kind of stories where something's off. Batman's missing. Bruce Wayne's acting weird in these videos and is out of his normal behavior, and now we have Superman having to team up with Robin and having to impersonate Batman to keep the illusion going on while they're trying to figure out what's going on. It's just kind of a neat, different style story than just your run-of-the-mill Superman punching things. But you get plenty of that in this episode too, and get to see how Superman faces off and fights these villains. So just all those things go in to make a really solid episode. So it should be of no surprise that this does fall in the top 10. In fact, the top 5 at the number 4 spot of my favorite episodes so far. I have it just below The Late Mr. Kent because that episode, again, I know that it is similar to a Batman episode in the sense that it is a kind of a film noir, detective mystery, trying to solve his own death kind of thing. But it's kind of in that same vein, that story of how did this happen? Why is it happening? And how are we going to solve this and maintain this ruse of Superman and Clark Kent being two different people? But that was, as far as a Superman episode, I think was just a little bit better because it didn't need the extra elements from Batman, the animated series, to propel that up to what it is. But I do have it beating out Way of All Flesh because that was an early episode. I've said it before, but I think I may have ranked that a little bit higher than maybe I would have if I would have watched it later. We had Metallo and more of a humanized villain, had some great elements and some heart to it. But this one just is a much more intricate, involved, better story than that. So a lot of great things that are happening in this episode with bringing Superman to Gotham for the first time and having a crossover episode. So let me know, what are some of your favorite elements of this episode to see Superman in the Batman suit, Superman working with Robin, impersonating Batman? What are some of your favorite elements in this episode? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this episode, please click the like, thumbs up button. If you want to see more episodes like this, just hit subscribe. I have new episodes coming out every Tuesday and Thursday. And next up, we have New Kids in Town. Not New Kids on the Block, New Kids in Town. So you want to be sure to see that one. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Andy Knode. I'll see you soon. It's hard enough to try to keep Batman and Superman straight, and then when you have them both in the same episode, it's just it's a badiga, booba booba.